Hello, my name is Annie Brown, and I'm a resident of Walnut Cove, which is located in Stokes County, where I live is about 2 miles from the Blues Creek steam station. And I'm here to talk about my concerns about health issues from the piles of fly ash that's stacked up with grass growing on top. Also, the fly ash that was released back in the early 70s when it first started up. And I've lived around it ever since it started. What got my attention about Duke Energy and how close it was to where I live and where I've lived for the majority of my life, all my life, going down there. Where the lake is now, so we had to move, so the lake would be put there. We moved up about 3 or 4 miles from there, and in 1969, we stayed at that residence until 1978. I have 3 children, and after the plant started up, I would go outside and I'd see all this gray matter just flying in the air. And I'm like, what is that? But it was landing on my car. I would take my hand to brush it off. I would take water in a bucket to wash it off, and the place where that fly ash landed ate the paint. Now, I didn't think anything of it because nobody had informed us of any toxins, any poisonous metals, or anything concerning that. It was just flying in the air. My kids out playing in it. But over the years, after I became acquainted with Appalachian Voices, they gave me a pamphlet that stated the toxins and the chemicals and what they could do to a person's body. Everything that was on that body, that diagram, I have it. I have it. Back in this after the plant started up and the fly ash was flying, I started getting weakness in my hand. I went to several doctors, and they thought I had MS, that I was coming down with MS. It was like half of my body, the left side just going in an opposite direction. My fingers was like that over here. I got it fixed, I thought, and this is what I ended up with. It looked like those little deformed fish that's in the water at Blues Creek. But anyway, the doctors, all these specialists told me that they could not figure out what was wrong. Their diagnosis was that whatever had jumped on me in my 20s was something that don't jump on a person until they get 70 or 80 years old. That's what I had to deal with. I accepted that. I did not know that it could be something. And I'm not saying now for sure, but no doctor, none of the doctors that I had ever told me exactly what was wrong. The spinal taps, the brain scans, everything. But I lost all use of this arm. I have numbness on this side. I'm losing my eyesight in this eye. I do have a heart condition. And back in the 80s, I did just remember that I had ulcerated stomach. And it could come from air pollution. And I understand that clean water is a must for all of us. Like you said, regardless of color. And we should not have been subjected to what I see every day I go down that road. I'm only about 2 miles away now. And there are pools that's just standing water. And then there are mountains, look like mountains that were built up. I saw them when they were building it. And after they stacked it as high as they could, they put grass over top of it. Wow. It's still there. The trucks that carried this fly ash to vendors or whoever's getting it goes by my house right now, every day. And in the summertime, the wind's blowing, the fly ash is still blowing from the wheels off the truck. My daughter has come down with some illness. I have, and what I'm going to share. One day I was just sitting there and thinking about this. I said, well, could be something from the fly ash that's caused me to go through all this. And I said, well, I know I won't live as long as I have lived. But I do have children. I have grandchildren. There are neighbors and family members that when that plant started up, we had to move. And we still form that community. Pretty much the same people, same families. And they're not just black people, they're white people too. I was sitting there just out of my memory, and you can see a list. You can't see their names, but I know them personally. The ones with the D out from it are deceased. The road I live on connects with Pine Hall Road, which goes a mile and a half to Blues Creek. But in a 10-mile radius, these are the people that are sick now, and the D is for deceased, and you can see the page is about 4. Page is about 4. Young people, and some older people that are coming down with kidney cancer. They're on oxygen, those that are, some are still living. Some that passed away just recently, about 3 young people already on oxygen. So I feel like air pollution from fly ash over a period of time, before they say they cleaned it up, now you smell sulfur. But back then you could see the fly ash. So my concern is, in addition to cleaning the water, I would like the Duke Power to take some interest in the human life. Yes.
That's as real as it gets, isn't it? And we can't allow any government, regardless of party or corporation, to devalue human life. Can't allow that. There's been too much of that over the years. We went through that with eugenics. And anytime you place something among people, and you know you place it just because it was a poor community or otherwise, we can't allow, we have a moral responsibility to ensure that people's lives and the impact on their lives are not devalued. That's why we're here, and that's why we're going to be here, and that's why the third point of the Forward Together Moral Movement agenda is health care for all and environmental justice and protection. You have to hold those two together. You have to hold those two together. And you know, even a Republican like Teddy Roosevelt 100 years ago said environmental justice and environmental protection was one of the greatest moral issues. He listed 4: living wages, minimum wages, environmental justice and protection, and health care for all Americans. Health care for all Americans. And you know, sometimes God allows people to live so that they can give their living testimony of the hell they've been through. So that those of us who are yet living will take that testimony and take up the cause of fighting for justice. So Annie, we believe that God allowed you to live for such a time as this. Put a human face on this really, really serious, sinful situation.